What is up, everybody, and welcome to Real Talks Podcast. We're going to break down what it takes to live life on your terms through entrepreneurship, specifically real estate investing. So we're going to hit it hard, the good, the bad, and the real, because that climb, as any entrepreneur knows, is never smooth. My name is Mike Singletary. I'm your host. So let's get real. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Real Talks in this week's edition. I got a great guest for us today, somebody that I'm interested, get to know a little bit better. He has a great story. And so I want to kind of run through his introduction right now. So his name is Benjamin Algier. Guy, I know I'm probably mispronouncing that. Ben, you could probably correct me here in a sec. He went from a medical degree in medical sales, and then transitioned to medical sales, and then went into real estate. So medical sales is a tough job. He's opened his firm in Kansas City, owns Crown City Homes. Company's flipped hundreds of houses. I'm not sure. It says hundreds here, but I saw on his profile that I think it's 700 plus, which is super impressive. And he's now concentrating on developing affordable housing in Kansas City. Additionally, Ben owns and operates 2 security companies and actively acquires cash-flowing businesses that enhances his core real estate ventures. So, Ben, how are you, brother?
Mike, how are you, man?
I'm been a while. Well. Did I butcher your name, bro?
Algier. It's
Algier.
Close. You're good. No big deal.
No big deal. Algier. What I say, Algier? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. I've heard it all. I've heard alligator.
Like that, you know?
I mean, it is what it is. It's not that big a deal.
Awesome. So, have we met? I feel as if we have a little bit, but I don't know much about you.
Yeah, we met at Fuel a while back.
Okay.
It was one of my first events that I was at Fuel.
Sweet.
We talked about some of the stuff that you were working on with your programming and some of the software that you were building. We talked about that, and I think it was a barbecue restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Awesome, brother. Awesome, man.
Long time ago.
Thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate you having me.
Hey, man. Is this 7 houses, 100 houses? How many houses have you bought?
We've flipped 200 plus. We've wholesaled another ton of houses.
And, well, you're more than me. I'm in the 600 club, right?
Yeah.
So you've done it in a shorter period of time. I did it in 9 years. You've done it in 4. Is that correct?
We're on year 5. Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Impressive, my friend.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it, man. Talk to me about your journey, your business.
Yeah. It's a lot. My fiance loves how much I work now, but I started with one of my business partners who'd been in the business for a really long time.
Okay.
And we started from wholesaling houses, and then eventually started buying and flipping houses, and flipped a lot of houses, learned a lot. Didn't make quite the money that we thought we were going to make because we were still in that learning phase. And now we've kind of figured it out, found our groove, and we're actively buying. Hopefully we'll be at 75-ish this year, kind of slowed down a little bit. But we're moving some of those resources over to some new ventures, started a security company, then acquired a security company, and we're now buying a painting company and going to start moving into the business acquisition side of things, kind of keep steady at that, hopefully 75 to 100 contracts in real estate per year. So
that's awesome, man. I mean, so out of 75, what's the percentage of your flipping, percentage of your wholesaling?
Beginning of the year, we were trying to flip everything. And we've now transitioned in the last 6-ish months to, we'll probably do 2 flips a month and then wholetail the rest of it. Flipping is difficult. I'm sure you know that it's sometimes. So we've kind of do what?
Did you get stuck this year? Did you get stuck with a bunch of properties and all of a sudden
we did. Yeah. I mean, we've got 4 sitting on the market that we've had on the market for 30, 45 days, which in a normal stable market, that's perfectly acceptable. But it feels tough after having come out of those years where we're selling houses in a week, right?
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it, man. I mean, because, we were so used to multiple offers and all this other stuff, which we obviously knew was a hot market. Saved a lot of investors' asses, truthfully, because they bought it probably wrong. And then massive appreciation just kind of saved them. We've transitioned out of flipping. We were heavy flippers until about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought this was going to happen this year, 3 years ago. So we probably lost an opportunity. There's no doubt about that. But, to your point, flipping, everybody comes in and because they've seen TV shows and they think flipping is so, I don't know, what's the right word, man? I mean, desirable.
They think that it's easy.
They think it's easy, it's desirable. It is a pain in the
It's freaking.
All right, man. So we love the hero's journey here in this podcast. Right? So give me one or two deals that just kicked your ass and you're like, stayed up at night trying to think like, well, how am I to get out of this?
We've got one right now. So
awesome.
we bought it in just the heat of the market. We paid like $175,000 for this house and thought we could sell it for $250,000. Like, yeah, we'll go ahead and put $25,000 in. We buy it. We just have all kinds of things hit us right in the face. We're like, okay, we didn't see that. We didn't see that. We didn't see that.
Like what? Give me a couple.
Well, one of the things was it had $50,000 in termite damage that you can't see when you're buying it up front.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well so now you got to tear apart the whole house, build it back together. And at that point you're out of cash from your investor to continue to remodel the house. So it's all coming out of pocket. And now we're sitting on this asset. We tried to sell it and we realized we were going to have to come to the table with like $60,000 to pay off the investor. Yeah. And that's just cash.
Yeah.
And so now we're trying to turn it into a rental, one of those accidental rentals that happens.
Yeah.
So now we're working on turning it into a rental, trying to get a tenant in there. I've had 3 people that property management company has approved. They dropped out, can't find them. So now it's been months of just nonsense. And we're probably still at this point looking at bringing about $60,000 to the table to close this thing.
So you're just trying to recoup your equity as much as possible. You're going to come in you're coming out of pocket $60,000 regardless. So you might as well try to keep it. Is it going to cash flow at all, or you're just going to lose every month on it?
It will. It'll cash flow maybe $150, $200 a month.
So nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No.
There's property taxes. I don't know much about your area or your state as far as property taxes, because we get, like right now I'm paying property taxes and it's just ridiculous. Is it the same with you at the end of the year where you have to cut a pretty fat check on each rental?
Yeah. Missouri has been pretty stable on the low end of things for a while, but our main county here just had a massive hike this year, and people are actively combating they're contesting all of the property taxes at this point. So we're going through that process of trying to contest, and you're fighting with the county. So you know how that goes.
I know exactly how that goes.
Yeah, it's not fun, but yes, we've been fortunate over the past couple of years where we had lower than average, I'm sure across the country, property taxes. But yeah, right now I guess Missouri got smart and they're like, hey, we see all these other places that are charging astronomical fees for property tax. Let's get with the picture. And
we don't have income tax here in Texas. Do you guys have income tax?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you, brother.
Yeah.
I got you, man. So everybody that thinks about, hey man, I want to get rentals. I hear this all the time. My neighbors talk to me about it. Anybody that knows me, they're like, I want to add a couple of rentals. And they think, I'm like, listen, man, that's great, but rentals only work at scale, right?
They do.
I mean, they work whenever you're like have 50, 100, something like that. We have 1 or 2, you're losing money, and it's really just about equity.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah.
You're rolling something over into a rental to try to put some of the cash there and maybe get some tax breaks. But I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be double digits at the very minimum for it to make sense, because then you can give it to a property management company. If you're doing anything before that and you hand it over to property management, you're losing money right off the bat, right?
Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, we've been keeping it in-house. This year is the first year that we transitioned 100% to property management.
Yeah.
I can't deal with it. It just takes too much time and it's really not worth it,
Yeah.
So, but that's another tip for all you newbies that are going in there. Property management company will make or break you.
It will.
I won.
For
so
sure.
Talk about that, man. Do you have a good one, or
no?
How did you pay yours?
No. We've gone through multiples trying to find one that's one reliable and that'll like communicate with you. Because we've had so much issue in the past with property management companies. They don't communicate when your property's vacant. They don't communicate when there's some massive bill. You just get hit with it, and it's like, okay, well, I have contractors. I could have gone in and done that myself instead of getting hit with a $10,000 bill for an AC. Like, That doesn't cost me 10 grand to fix.
Yeah.
So we finally think that we have a company. We're trying them out. But in the past, it's kind of just been one of those things where you just hand it off and hope that you don't get screwed, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you, man. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we make a pact with ours that we have the option to bring in our own trades. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They give us a list and stuff like that. And then if their price is better, that's great. It keeps them honest.
Yeah,
right?
see, that's smart.
Yeah. It keeps them honest. They're not happy about it, but if they want our business, they're just going to have to agree to it.
Yeah.
And after a while, what happens is that we pretty much set a baseline on pricing anyways. So they
For
can't
sure.
come in with that ridiculous $10,000 for an HVAC.
For sure. Well, and
Yeah.
you know how this business works. You can't focus on everything, right?
Right.
So we focus heavy on the acquisition side on a real estate business. Like we spend most of our time, most of our money, most of our resources on that side of things. Like with Dispo, we don't even do Dispo. We sub all Dispo out. And on the property management side, it's just been one of those things that we haven't gone and taken a deep dive into. So we're acquisitions heavy. We focus a lot of time and effort on acquisitions and negotiations and training our people up to get as many deals as we possibly can, because I mean, at the end of the day, without the deals, you really don't have anything.
Absolutely, man. I mean, great. Because on that piece alone, there's a couple of things I want to dive into, because our first, just to kind of get at the beginning of this, are you virtual, or are you belly to belly, or combo both?
We're belly to belly.
Yep. Belly to belly. Okay.
We're actually, we have a team of door knockers. We are belly to belly to the nth degree.
Dude, that's so awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I knew that about you on the door knock, and I was going to go into that anyways, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about your marketing process and the acquisitions process for you guys.
So actually, we're going to present this at Investor Fuel in a couple of weeks, or when we go down in January.
I won't be there. This is perfect.
Okay, perfect. We're going to learn right now.
This is not going to air till later. So
Okay, good deal. We're going to learn now. So we target almost exclusively foreclosures.
Right.
And we have an entire system and process that we use to target these foreclosures. Most of them are on from the time that they get notified they're in default till the time that house forecloses is about 21 days. So we have a full 21-day schedule where these people get hit with text messages, calls, door knocks, Facebook messages, mailers. And we are constantly, every single day from day 1 to day 21, they get something from us.
Okay. So are you hitting the pre-foreclosure at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some counties have pre-foreclosure in Missouri. Some of them just go straight to a foreclosure list.
Got it.
We don't have access to, nobody has access to the pre-foreclosures in some of our counties.
The problem I always had with that, especially the pre-foreclosure, is that, everybody, they hope, they're like the ostrich effect, right? They stick their head in the sand. They don't want to do anything to the last second. They're hoping that they can finance with a bank. And, quite honestly, I hope they can too, right?
Yeah.
But obviously that's not the case. Or they just think that some miracle is going to come and save them. And, we cold call. So that list is hard to cold call because, everybody's calling them.
For sure.
Right? Debt collectors been calling them forever, right?
Bankruptcy attorneys, they got everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do you navigate, or how do you, present yourself? You're obviously going there, knocking on the door. I'll try that. By the way, I have. They don't answer. You know what I'm saying? So how do you fulfill that lead and get it across the finish line better than anybody else?
So our messaging is pretty straightforward, but also super not in your face about it. When our guys go to the door, they knock on that door and they say, "Hey, I know it's super out of the blue." And for whatever reason in Missouri, we get a lot of people to answer the door. It's probably different than Texas. But we get a lot of people to answer the door, probably 30%, I think it's 35% of people answer the door and we knock. And the message is simple. "Hey, super out of the blue. I noticed your lender had scheduled a sale. I'm just here to see if there's anything I can do to help." And we just approach it from the help aspect of things. Like, we don't come at them saying, "We want to buy your house," right? So we come at it from, "Hey, if you want to modify your loan, we have an entire resource right here it's a do-it-yourself checklist that goes point by point of how to modify your loan." And then we also tell them, "Hey, if you don't want to do this on your own, we'll help you modify your loan." So we get them under contract under a loan modification agreement. And then what we do at that point, we have a right of first refusal built into that loan modification agreement. So if at any point the loan modification is unsuccessful, or they just decide that they want to sell that house, we get right of first refusal. And that gets filed with the county. So it's like an affidavit. So it gets filed that If they try to go around us and sell to somebody else, they can't, because we have that right of first refusal, since we're spending all the time, all the effort, all the energy, all the money.
Put a memo on it, right?
Exactly. Right. Trying to help them modify their loan. And we're really good at helping people modify their loan. We've modified 50 of them in the past year.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah. So
so you're helping them.
There's some of these companies that come from the predatory standpoint. We try to be completely different than that. And then at any point in the future, if we see at least 30% of these people that get modified, they're back on the foreclosure list.
Does your memo stay, or do you pull the memo?
It stays. No, it stays.
So it stays. So whenever they're back on there, what's that? That's interesting. So what's the percentage of them calling you back? Would you know that data?
If they get modified and now they have to do something else,
right?
85% of them will call us back, because we provided them all of these resources. Like, it's the Alex Hormozi mindset of things. Give them so much information, so much value for free, that we're now the expert. They ain't going to anybody else. They're coming right back to me to sell that house.
They should.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our approach, and it works pretty well.
That's awesome, brother. So how do you set up your door knocking team? What is it? First off, what's your team look like? How many people?
So we have 2 guys out in the field door knocking. We have 2 major counties here, and then they hit some of the outer counties. They knock about 100 doors a week. Okay. And out of those 100 doors, we secure at least 2 contracts a week.
Okay.
So then we have an in-office lead manager who manages all the mailing and the Facebook messages and the text messages and emails. Those are all automated. And she's taking all of the inbound calls off of our door hangers and our letters that we send out. And then we have, obviously on the construction side, that's a different side, but it's really me and 3 other people on the acquisition side who are kind of running this entire operation.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Lean and mean, right?
I mean, that's the way you got to do it, right?
Yeah, that's better than most people, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, especially doing the volume that you're doing, right? Because it sounds like you don't have this huge overhead of marketing.
No, there's almost no marketing budget. Like our biggest expense is 2 things. We have a VA that pulls all the leads. Yeah. So every morning when our guys come in, they have an entire list of leads and they map out their own route. And then the other thing that costs us is the mail pieces, which it's a letter in an envelope with a postage stamp. It doesn't hardly cost anything.
Yeah, especially because the list is not that huge, right? Well, you're not mailing 20,000 people or anything like that, right?
No, there's 10 to 20 new ones that come on a day. But like I said, they get hit 21 days in a row.
That's awesome, man. So how long have those door knockers been with you? And is that a high turnover position or no?
We thought it would be in the beginning. When we started this, we were completely expecting this to be a high turnover position. The guy that we have with us has been with us since the very beginning. He was our first ever hired door knocker, and he is continuing to do it. And then we hired one other guy. He dropped out after about 2 weeks because he was looking for the quick hit. Yeah, it was a referral. It was bad hire. But now we have another one that we picked up like 6 months ago, and he's been with us for 6 months and loves it. The freedom that we offer him, I mean, you can't really beat it. You don't have to be in an office. Yeah, you go to your list, you go do it, you get a commission.
Yeah. So do you pay them hourly at all, or do you give them any kind of stipend for?
They get a gas stipend. They get a gas stipend. So we reimburse them on their gas and stuff like that. But everything else, straight commission. So there's no base salary, no nothing. Yeah.
And so you don't give them anything up front, because your turn time on those is at least 1 month. You're looking at probably about 2 to 3 months, right? Because you're closing it.
Yeah.
You're not wholesaling anything, right? You're closing this thing
because you almost have to, right? When deals are this fast, it's hard to wholesale them. Yeah, you can do it, but it just makes it a little more difficult.
You bring a complication like that other person has to perform. You're going to probably have to close. They don't anyways.
Yep.
You know. So
exactly.
Interesting.
Our guys we actually pay them on the front end, so we pay them on projected. It's a little different model, so they don't have to wait until the very end. They get paid on the projected. It's like 80% of projected up front, and then if there's any wiggle room at the end, we pay them the rest.
Interesting. Do you ever, if that projected, like that deal that you were just talking about, goes over, do you ever take it back?
No.
Good. Smart.
No. Yeah. We want to keep our guys, right? You got to keep the guys happy.
Exactly, man. Dude, I love your business model, man. I love it on several different fronts. I mean, one, your overhead is unbelievably cheap. You know what I mean? And that right now is such a big deal in this economy. And foreclosures, I know in Texas, are really going up. Are you feeling, is it the same over there?
It is. I actually have, I've pulled data on the states with the most foreclosures. That was in Q4 of this year. The states with the most foreclosures, Texas is in the top 10. Missouri and Kansas, where we operate in, they're in the bottom. Like Missouri's 39 and Kansas is 46. So we don't have a ton of foreclosures comparatively to some of these other states, but I mean, we're still doing at least 2 deals a week off of being in that bottom echelon of the foreclosure leads.
That's awesome, brother. And they got to sell. You know what I mean?
They have to. Yeah.
They had to sell. So tell me what's your superpower, brother? What is something that, and this is a humble brag, fortune that, and just, brag on yourself. What is that one thing that you feel like you do better than anybody else?
This is weird for me, man. I'm not good at this whole bragging thing. But if I had to say something, it would just be I'm an action taker. Yeah. There's so many people in this business that we see that try to get into this space, and they're like, yeah, for the first couple of weeks, it's go, go, go. And then they just fall off and go back to their 9 to 5. I'm one of those guys that I constantly have to be doing something, which is also a crux, right? Like I always feel like I have to be doing something. So I'm constantly taking action, constantly trying new things. My business partners, and my business partner's like, where the hell did the money for this go? Did that turn into anything? Well, no, that one didn't, but this one did. So
that's awesome.
It's tough sometimes, but I mean, that's that's kind of my mentality of starting in medical sales. You kind of have to be that way, right? You have to be the go-getter. It is. It's.
You were. Hold on. Were you in medical school as well, or?
I got accepted, and then 2 weeks before I graduated undergrad, I just said, I don't want to do this. I'm like, okay, how much debt am I going to be in? Yeah, no, I don't want to do this. I got to be in school for another 8 years. No, I'm out.
I mean, my wife's a physician. I've watched her go through the whole thing. It takes a special person to go do that.
It's wild.
I can do it. There's absolutely no way. You know what I mean?
No way.
So at least, I mean, it sounds like you found your space. You found the place where you shine. You know what I mean?
I do enjoy this a lot.
You do, and you do enjoy it.
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and there's always those days that suck. There's those days where you come into the office, you're like, I have a million fires to put out, and I don't want to do any of those things. I want to build on some of the stuff that I've been working on, and those days suck. I'm sure you've had them too, but
a lot of them.
You just have to fight through those.
Well, I mean, I feel as if people that do, that are entrepreneurs, I mean, we're like a step away from quitting a lot. Right?
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm done with this. I'm done.
Yep.
And then when you get one, it's almost like playing golf, right? You get that one shot, and you're like, oh man. Dude.
And it's always on the 18th hole, right? It's always on the 18th hole. You got to come back the next week.
Exactly, man. So you get that one shot, and you're like, oh, this is the reason why I'm in this. This is the reason why this happens. But, it's not worth having unless it's hard. And that's just how it is. That's just how life is,
and you think about it, you get to walk past. I saw this quote one time. It was like, the journey to success, you're going to pass the carcasses of all the people who didn't have what it took to get there.
Ah, nice, dude.
I don't know if that's exactly how it went, but it sounded good.
I like that quote, dude. I mean, 100%, because there's a lot of people right now, and they're listening to this, and you're stuck in your 9 to 5. And this is really the person I like to talk to anyways, right? That's why we like to focus on the hero's journey, because it's hard. Yeah. Like if you sit there and go, well, it's too tough. Well, then you're right. You're not made for this. Stay within 9 to 5, and you're just gonna have to suck it up and find a way to be happy there. But if you want something to change, you got to change it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, especially at the beginning, I don't believe that you need to burn the ships, but I do believe that you do your 9 to 5 first, and then you work on your 5 to 10.
I agree.
And and I love your approach, because anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Anybody can go out and knock on a door, right?
Exactly.
It's not
anybody. I mean, if you haven't done it, it's kind of like cold calling. It's it's intimidating to go and knock on a stranger's door and have a conversation. But what's the worst they could do?
Well, that's what I tell my acquisitions guys all the time. I go, guys, the reason we're really successful at this is because we do those things that nobody else wants to do. Guess what's usually at the other end of the things that nobody else wants to do? A fat pile of money.
Yeah. So true, brother. So when you train those acquisition guys, talk to me about that. I mean, is it similar to training like somebody that is a closer, Are they closing the deal? What's the sales process looks like for you guys?
So in the beginning, it wasn't. The way that we started off was I was still in the living room closing every deal, right?
Okay.
I had to train my guy that, hey, you are an appointment setter. All you're doing is setting appointments for me to come in and close the deal. All I want you to do is build a relationship with somebody, sit at their doorstep for 20 minutes, have a conversation with them, talk about their life, understand all those things so that when I come in, if it gets to a conflict of they want this price, I can only offer this price, that's if we're buying the house, right? Then they can be the good guy who's built a relationship with the person, and I can still be the bad guy, and it's just a dynamic that worked. But the way that we've evolved is my main door knocker, I sent him to Martinez training. We do trainings every week in the office, and now he's the guy who goes into the living room and has those conversations. So if he gets somebody at the door, he can go in and close those right away.
Nice. So, and how about the other guy? What's the process with him?
The other guy's just the appointment setter. We found this 20-year-old kid. He is hungry as hell.
Yeah.
And all he wants to do is go out there and talk to as many people as possible. And I said, okay, dude, this is your job. Go out there, set as many appointments as you can, talk to as many people as you can, kiss as many babies as you can, and get us in the door. So that's what he does.
Yep. Well, okay. So obviously the pay structure is probably going to be different between both of those, right?
Yeah,
so would you mind sharing what that looks like?
Yeah. So they both get the one of the guys gets the car stipend. We actually just bought a vehicle for our main door knocker. So he has a wrapped truck, and he's got a gas card, but they both get that. And then the pay structure for the door knocker who's setting the appointments, he gets, if it's his deal that he finds and the guy comes in and closes, he gets 8%. And then the closer gets he gets 5%, sorry. The closer gets 3% of that deal, so 8% total. And then the closer on the deals that he's working on, he gets a full 8% on those deals.
Okay, so you're at 8% commission on the acquisition sides, and on dispositions, you're closing it, so you're probably just putting back on the market, right? So your dispo is probably agents or something like that.
So we found, I'm sure you guys know who New Western is, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we found a guy who branched off of New Western. Yeah. And he's phenomenal. So he knows their whole structure. He knows how that works, but he's built his buyers list to this massive scale, and the dude takes like $3,000 a deal. So I literally pay him $3,000, and he does it on such massive volume that it doesn't even make sense for me to go build a dispo department.
No,
because it's going to cost more than $3,000 to dispo it anyway, right? I mean, so I just
super transparent. I mean, how do you know it's $3,000? Yeah. Like, do you come and go, hey, listen, I want to sell this for $150 to you, or does he tell you it needs to be at this price?
So we collaborate on what we think that we can sell it for, and all he does is he gives me the buyer's information. It's a direct contract between me and the buyer, and then he just invoices me $3,000, and I hand him $3,000 at closing.
No way.
Yeah,
so is there any NDA involved, or is it just straight like you can't, that way you don't go around him and he can play it?
It's a handshake trust agreement. This is Midwest, man. We're handshakes.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? That's fantastic, brother. I mean, because I've dealt with New Western quite a bit. We do utilize them. Before we built out our dispo team, they were one of our primary dispositions, channels, right? And it's all about the agent if you're dealing with them. And I'm not going to say, I mean, there's a lot of negative stuff about their business, but if you get the right agent, man, they're worth their weight in gold, just because what you're finding out right now, man, they can sell properties at a level that you're not able to sell.
Well, and I don't want to do that. Like, I don't care about the dispo side. Like, I want to get deals. I don't care about selling them on the back end, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. I'll tell you what, man. This was a great and unbelievably interesting episode, because I have never heard anybody doing door knocking at scale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's different.
And so, have you tried any other marketing channels, and how did it just evolve into, we're going to be the best at this?
So we did everything. We did mailers, we did cold calling, we did texting, we did all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we kind of brought this in as a little supplemental type of a strategy that we just tried. Like, we had a whole department built out that was acquisitions towards those main channels, like PPC, the SEO, all of those different kinds of things, right? And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see if this works. So I was actually, a year ago today, I was out door knocking just to try to see if it worked.
Right.
Like I said, an action taker. So I was out knocking on doors, driving around the city all day long, knocking on doors, seeing if it worked, and it did. And we just kept iterating on the process that we had and turned it into what it is today.
You should sell a course. That's
I
the
do.
next step for you.
I do.
There we go. Let's talk about that, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
It's basically all of that we just talked about. I teach people. It's a whole video course where I walk people through exactly how to do it. If you have a business already, or if you're a brand new person, you can be talking to sellers tomorrow. Like
Awesome.
it's built in a way where you can set up a business from scratch in about 3 hours, and then you can pull the lists and have your first set of leads in the first 24 hours of having the system. And then you get all my resources, all my documents, all my spreadsheets. You get everything. Key to the castle.
Awesome. Do you want to talk about the price, or you want to just leave that offer right now?
I'll have people call me.
Okay.
It's
No
it's
problem.
not that there's
I'll-
different price points.
Give me the link on it. I'm going to put it on the show notes
Okay.
anyway, right?
Yeah.
But go ahead and tell where they can find you.
Yeah. So benallgaier.com. That's my website. And then I believe it's / full course. That's where we've got the link to the landing page that has all the information about what comes with the system, what you can expect, the whole 9 yards. It's all on that landing page. And then typically what I do is I have people book a call so I can talk them through any questions they have, walk them through that whole process of understanding the system, setting expectations, and then getting them excited to get ready to roll and get out there and start knocking on doors, start calling people and getting some deals.
That's awesome, man. I think it's so great because anybody could do this. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to have a little bit of guts, right? A little bit of
Yep.
grit, or a
Yep.
lot of grit, but
For sure.
anybody can do it. Well, that's awesome, man. So I know you said that you started a securities company. What's next for you, brother? What are you excited about?
I'm excited to keep buying businesses. So I've actually started to build out like a backbone of like a 90-day implementation plan of when you acquire a company, you implement this in the first 90 days, and then it's kind of off to the races with the company. You have operations, you have leadership, you have marketing, you have all these different pieces to the puzzle. And we attack it in the first 90 days, and then hopefully we're off and running. So I'm experimenting with that, with some different stuff, like with the painting company. I actually just left a meeting with the painting company. We're closing on it the first of the year.
Nice.
And we've implemented a lot of that into the security company as well. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about buying more businesses. There's a lot of people in this industry specifically who kind of hedge their bets with different marketing channels. Like I talked to a guy the other day, it's 14 marketing channels that he was using to acquire real estate.
It's crazy. I mean,
But that's what you have to do when it's your operation, right? When you're solely focused on the real estate side. I've kind of come at it from a different approach of, well, I can hedge my bets on different businesses. And that sounds more fun to me anyway, to have a diversified portfolio of businesses rather than a diversified portfolio of marketing channels.
yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. How are you identifying the businesses? How are you creating that funnel?
It's almost the same as what we do with houses.
Yeah.
So we have a VA who goes and pulls all of the potential businesses. So we'll identify a business for like the painting company, for instance. We'll identify, we want to go target painting companies. So we'll have a VA pull a list of all the painting companies in Kansas City, whether that's searching on Google or going through like the phone book to find painting companies. Then they find the contact information, and we have a drip campaign of emails that we send out and then have people reach out to us.
Okay. And I know that you bought one, right? This is your first one?
We bought a painting company, and then we acquired a security company a couple months ago as well.
So your KPIs aren't really defined. How many businesses did you have to qualify to get one so far to go, hey, this is a fit?
I can qualify them pretty well over the phone. So we say we want your revenues to be between X and Y. And then we want to know kind of what your operation looks like. If it's a single guy painting houses by himself, we didn't want that.
Yeah.
So we set those KPIs on the front end of what we're looking for. And then we send them an NDA that we sign, and then they send us their financials. And so we'll go through their financials and figure out if it kind of fits what we're looking for. Every business is different. The security company had different criteria that we were looking for than the painting company. But it's all about, does that company have consistent cash flow? Like, is the owner above a certain range, which is about, for the painting company, we wanted him to be above $15,000 a month in profit.
Okay.
That's net profit. So that's what we were looking for on that. So
gross profit, is there a threshold that you're looking for? Like nothing less than $1 million, or?
No, nothing less than about 600. That's what we were looking for. especially on the painting side. The security side was different. We had different parameters and higher parameters for that, and wanted like monthly recurring revenue on that side of things. But
nice.
Yeah, so we set those parameters. We send them an NDA. They send us their financials. I think we went through 10 different companies until we found one that kind of fit what we were looking for.
Awesome, bro.
Wasn't that bad.
I'm interested in that, by the way. I mean, because I'm playing, I'd rather buy companies than.
That's what I'm saying, right?
And I'd rather.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and I'd rather buy companies than go and start companies, because most of these people will sell or finance them just like they will with a house.
Yeah.
So you're putting down some small payment, purchasing a company, and you don't have to start from scratch. Starting from scratch is hard.
It's hard, and plus it cash flows, and most of these businesses don't have the skill set that we have, that you can come in and change things around really quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like just implement a CRM, a basic marketing, a follow-up, you know what I mean, program.
Stuff that we've done a million times, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. So super interesting, and congratulations on those two, man.
Thank
so
you.
I know you said it before, but say it one more time. How do people find you? I'm gonna put all the links here.
Yeah, so I've got my Instagram is just at Ben Allgaier. I've got my website, benallgaier.com, / pretty sure it's full course. We've changed a couple times. And then I'm kind of on Facebook. I've got a LinkedIn page, Ben Allgaier. It's Ben-Allgaier. But yeah, I'm sure you'll link all that stuff. But I'm pretty active. I'm most active on Instagram. So my page over there on Instagram is the most. I do a lot of that a day. It's fun for me.
Awesome, Ben. All right, man. Awesome. It was a pleasure, man. On that, guys, it's a wrap. Peace out. Check you guys out next week. So that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope you received value from this episode. If so, please share this podcast to your brothers and sisters, and also hook up with us on Facebook, IG, and YouTube at Real Talks. That's REIL Talks. Until next time, my friends, keep it cool, keep it real, and peace out.